The city doesn't sleep. It waits. Every night it holds its breath, listening to footsteps that don't want to be heard. Rain falls the same way it always does, not to clean, but to blur the edges of things people don't want to see clearly. They call me when something feels wrong. Not broken, not loud, just wrong. My name is John. I don't chase killers. I listen to them. Because before every crime, there is a thought that goes unanswered. The body was discovered just before dawn. No signs of struggle, no chaos, no desperation. That's always the first mistake people make. They expect violence to announce itself. Real violence is quiet. It doesn't need witnesses. The victim lay exactly where the killer wanted him to be. Not hidden, not displayed, placed. That told me more than any wound ever could. Jacob was already there when I arrived, standing behind the tape, still, watching. He's the kind of man who believes the city can be held together if you press hard enough. Rules, lines, structure. Someone has to believe in those things, otherwise everything collapses. I nodded at him. He nodded back. That was all we needed to say. People think profiling is about guessing. It's not. It's about patterns. Who the killer chose, who he ignored, what he took, what he left behind. This one didn't rush, didn't panic. He wasn't afraid of time. That meant patience, confidence. And confidence always comes from rehearsals, not in practice. Rehearsal. Which means this wasn't the first time he'd imagined it. Back at the station, the room felt smaller than usual, like the walls had moved closer overnight. Jacob watched from his office as I laid the photos across the table. He didn't interrupt. That's one thing I respect about him. He knows when silence is doing the work. This isn't about anger, I said finally. Jacob leaned back. You're sure? I'm never sure, I said. But anger leaves messes. This didn't. He didn't argue. Sometimes agreement is more dangerous than dissent. It means both of you are seeing the same thing and not liking it. They gave me the interrogation room out of habit, not because we had a suspect, but because that's where questions feel heavy. I sat alone, an empty chair across from me. Empty chairs are honest. They don't pretend. I waited. You'd be surprised how much waiting reveals about yourself, about them. That's when I heard the click. The tape recorder turned on by itself. No sudden movements, no shock. Fear is loud. Understanding is quiet. The voice came through distortion. Careful. It didn't threaten me, didn't boast. It spoke like someone choosing each word the way a surgeon chooses where to cut. You listen better than the others. I didn't respond. Silence is an invitation. I wondered how long it would take before they sent you. That told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't random. It wasn't impulsive. This was sung. Me, Jacob, didn't like that part. He never says it out loud, but I can see it in the way his jaw tightens. You're letting him in, he said later. No, I replied. He's already inside. I'm just turning on the lights. Jacob believes in distance, clear sides. I believe the mind doesn't respect boundaries. That's where we differ. That's why we work. The symbol appeared that night. Red ink, clean lines, no rush, no tremor. The killer had steady hands. It wasn't a warning. It wasn't a signature. It was a message. Not for the police. Not for the city. For me. Jacob stared at it for a long time. Do we release this? He asked. No, I said. He nodded. Sometimes leadership is knowing which truths would do more harm than good. Profiling changes you. Not because you entered darkness, but because sometimes the darkness recognizes you. You start finishing sentences you've never heard spoken out loud. You understand motivations that scare you with their familiarity. That's the danger. Don't become the killer, but realizing how easily you could have been. The phone rang just after midnight. Jacob answered it. I didn't need to hear the voice on the other end. I saw it in his face. The killer knew my name. That's the moment shifts everything. Not when the first body was found, but when the killer stops hiding and starts talking directly to you. That's when it's no longer an investigation. It's a conversation. and conversations always changed both sides. I stayed in my office long after everyone else left. The city outside kept breathing, waiting. I wondered how long the killer had been waiting for me, and whether, in some quiet, dangerous way, I had been waiting for him too.